If you've been into Quake for the past years, you probably know who Nightdive Studios is. They seem to have struck gold when it comes to making remasters. The magic behind the studio is the Hex engine, created by Samuel Villarreal. What makes the engine special is its flexibility. It's built to work with a wide range of tools and libraries without being locked into any specific game logic. In other words, it doesn't need to understand how a game works internally, just how to load it and run it properly. This flexibility allows Nightdive to take old games and quickly bring them up to modern standards, updating graphics, controls, resolution and performance, while also adding new content like enemy behaviors, weapons, or even entirely new episodes, all without changing the core gameplay. So they have done a bunch like System Shock, Dark Forces, Turok, and of course some of our favorites like Quake, Quake 2, and Doom. And a few days ago, they mentioned how the re-release of Doom was announced during last year's QuakeCon and asked what we'd love to see revealed this year, heavily implying that something is brewing on their end and could be announced at the event. Without missing a beat, people started shouting what they wanted next, and we got a bunch of familiar names thrown around. Quake 4, Doom 3, Quake 3, Wolfenstein, Heretic, and Hexon. So, I went to do some research to figure out which titles had the best chance of getting the remaster treatment, and I was really surprised by what I found. I was first certain one game would be the clear pick, but an interesting piece of information made me shift toward one that hasn't received much love in the past decades. To be sure I was not missing anything, I went through id Software's catalog, see all the games they had under their belt, because, well, if something is revealed at QuakeCon, I doubt it wouldn't have a connection to the company. And I must agree, those 5 games mentioned probably have the highest chance of getting the remaster treatment. Yet, Sprony from Map Center brought up an interesting point. While those games are the most logical choices for remasters, he also mentioned that since everything is centered around Doom these days, he wouldn't be surprised if something related to Doom 64 gets released. I thought about that, and while the remaster is already done, I think it would be well received if they released a new episode, maybe with new demons, or not even brand new ones, but ones that were ignored, like the Revenant or the Archvile. Most likely, they might be trying to tie Doom 64 and the Dark Ages together through this, which would be really interesting from a lore perspective. Commander Keen could definitively get a remaster, especially since I tried playing the fucking thing on Steam and couldn't even get it to run, but I haven't seen any side-scrollers in Nightdive's catalog, and I doubt the game is popular enough for Bethesda to seriously consider giving it the remaster treatment. Still, a bundled collection with all episodes, maybe even including the Game Boy version, that would actually be pretty interesting. Hey, did you know there was a Commander Keen game announced for mobile by Bethesda back in 2019? No? Good, because it never came out. At first, I thought Catacomb might be on the list, but then I found out that while Catacomb 3D was developed by id Software, it was done under contract with Softdisk, who originally held the publishing rights. Those rights were later acquired by a small company called Flat Rock Software. In 2013, Flat Rock released the Catacombs pack, a bundle of 6 Catacomb games available digitally. Then, in 2017, the rights were sold again, this time to a company called Catacomb Games, which is now the current owner of the series. So no, Catacomb isn't on the list of possible remasters from Bethesda's side. Okay, now what other game could be on here? Rage? Yeah, no. Now, looking at the 5 games most likely in the running, the ones I really doubt will be next, but would love to be wrong about, are Quake 4 and Doom 3. Quake 4, because I don't think it's considered retro enough. There are still a few older games that could use the remaster treatment before that one. Though let's be honest, getting the never-released Quake 4 expansion with it would be amazing. Then there's Doom 3. Similar issue, it's not that old, and technically it already had some sorts of not that great but still got one remaster with the BFG edition. But hey, everything Doom 3 I'm in, so I'll be the first to go ape shit if that's what's coming. That leaves us with Wolfenstein, Quake 3, Heretic, and Hexon. Wolfenstein 3D maybe not as a standalone remaster. Don't get me wrong, the game is legendary. I mean, it's the grandfather of FPS games, no doubt about that, but I feel like a remaster wouldn't add much unless they really expanded on it. If they added a lot more decoration and made the maps feel less barren, or even found a way to add some verticality, that could be awesome. However, while I don't think it would get a standalone remaster, I do believe it could be bundled with another game, like Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Now that would be great to see remastered. Better graphics, updated AI, more impactful weapons, new levels and enemies, and maybe even some added co-op. As for Quake 3, I don't know, that would be cool, but I'm wondering what a remaster could really add beyond what we already have with Quake Live. However, I saw some comments suggesting they could include the single-player campaign from Quake 3 Revolution. That version from the PlayStation 2 was single-player only, well, local, split-screen too, and you played through bot matches to unlock skins and mods. You could pick between 5 characters: Sarge, Anarchy, Doomguy, Damia, and Clash, each with different stats like health, armor, damage, and speed. Including that, maybe with added story or objectives beyond just deathmatches, would definitely make it more interesting for a remaster. And finally, Heretic and Hexon. These games were stuck in limbo for a long time because, well, Raven Software held the development rights while id Software had the distribution rights. But now that Microsoft owns ZeniMax, both studios are under the same roof, and there are no more restrictions. Back in 2023, there were even discussions about Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox.
The big burning question that everybody would like to know, and you mentioned it in your Xbox Wire post.
When's Hexon coming back? That's what people want to know.
I think that's what you want to know.
Mentioning how he'd love to see Heretic come back, with Nightdive Studios showing interest in helping make that happen. That would be awesome. Getting something similar to the Doom remasters, with Heretic and Hexon bundled together, all episodes included, and a new campaign similar to what they did with Legacy of Rust. New enemies, weapons, and especially new artifacts. That would be incredible to play. So, in conclusion, I originally thought Wolfenstein had the best chance of getting the remaster treatment. However, after seeing the interest both Microsoft and Nightdive have shown toward Heretic, it really shifts the balance in that direction. I'd place Heretic in first, Wolfenstein second, and Quake 3 in third. Doom 64 might also get some new content, though I feel the post would have been worded differently if it were about new content rather than a full-on remaster. So yeah, let me know what you hope for. Which game do you think is getting the remaster treatment? Quake 4, Wolfenstein, or screw it? Maybe you're one who wants Rage to finally get the love it deserves.
Figuring out these tremors before the entire settlement collapsed.
And if I'm wrong, and none of the games I mentioned are getting a remaster, well, at least I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. I sure did. I learned that I need to go play Rage again, because last time I did, Sarah Hager wasn't in the game and I want to know more on her lore.